What is going on, Governors? Chisgule here, and today we're going to show you how we took the world record for the fastest Hell difficulty Ceroli Assault clear. If you like Rise of Kingdoms videos where we push endgame content and then show you how to do it too, then you should like and subscribe because we've got a bunch of videos about that. This is just one of those and many more to come. What you're watching is Ceroli Assault, 12-person boss fight in Rise of Kingdoms at 2x speed. We beat this in under 2 minutes, which is pretty nuts, setting the world record. And then we beat that record again, and then we beat that record again, and then we beat that record again, and then we beat that record again. So we're going to talk about a bunch of things. First of all, what are the units you need to be bringing? What are the buffs you need to be thinking about? And I honestly had a lot of fun doing this. You can see that the strategy is not all that complicated. Charge the boss at the very start as fast as you can and just burn it down. What you're seeing on the screen now, 154, we broke the previous record, which was awesome. It was 156, which was also set by the group that I was playing with. Huge thank you to Abolish and others for organizing this group, and Negan for pulling me in to actually join up with the crew and help set some records. We've got the screen set so that you can see the DPS meter really clearly off to the side. I don't know if it's this side. It's probably this side. Anyways, let's talk about what commanders you should bring to the battlefield. First and foremost, if you're going for a record like this, you don't need a tank. I probably would recommend that if you're not going for a record speed, which most people aren't, you have one army that is designed for tanking. That probably involves Richard I, and it probably also involves Alexander the Great for throwing some debuffs around, and some shields. That said, there were no tanks here. It is worth mentioning that we do have Tamaris on the battlefield paired with Edward, and Tamaris is making it so that the boss is taking increased skill damage, which is pretty important. Everybody else should really be using Khan plus either Cao Cao or Yi Seong-Ye. I personally was using Yi Seong-Ye, and that was a strong choice, I felt. A part of the reason that I really like YSG as opposed to Cao Cao is that you do AoE damage, which hits those adds that come into the fight, and it burns them down more rapidly, making sure that they don't actually harm your attempt in any way. So those are the key pairings. I believe Abolish didn't have Khan, so he was using an Yi Seong-Ye primary, and it seemed to be totally fine. Now, at this moment on the screen, you can see we got really lucky here with some of these bubbles showing up in a place that actually protects the armies that we were using to go completely ham on the boss, which is pretty cool. Some amount of randomness can definitely help you in your attempt. That is one such example of that randomness. Now, buffs are critically important if this is a thing you want to try to pull off and you want to beat our world record, which I think it honestly is beatable, especially with a little bit of extra luck. If you are trying to push the bounds on how far you can go in this event, regardless of what tier you're doing. There we go, 154 now is the new record. If you're trying to push the bounds, here are the buffs you need. You need a 50% army expansion. You need a 5, or we were using 10% attack runes. Not runes, tokens. We also had attack runes. I only had a 7%. That's what was in our kingdom. It was good enough. You can see at the moment right now, I get flipped to being the king. This is a very important piece of the puzzle. In a perfect world, you would run your group with a minimum of 3 other kingdoms. 3 other kingdoms minimum. Why is that? There's a bunch of buffs that you want to have distributed kingdom titles. You want to have someone be the king. You want to have someone be the general. You want to have somebody be the duke. You want to have somebody be the justice. That's 4 people. So if you're in 3 different kingdoms, everybody can have those buffs. And that also helps. Every little bit of edge. We're talking about world records here, right? But even if you're not going for the record, like, it will help to have those buffs if you can get them. The other thing that we did to get just a slight boost extra was to scout nearby cities for the 3% war frenzy. 3% war frenzy. So when you scout a city for 15 minutes, you can't peace shield, but you also get 3% extra attack. which is pretty solid. Honestly, like, it helps. Every little bit of edge helps. Obviously, if you're pushing the highest difficulty, you want to be using your T5s. If you are just trying to beat the event at all, there's a couple things I would recommend to you. Because look, hell difficulty is non-trivial. All it takes is for 1 or 2 people to bring tanks instead of like high DPS, so that you've got like multiple tanks in the group, and that will kill the attempt. It does not take much for this Ceroli Assault to go well, but it also doesn't take much for it to go poorly, right? Like, if everybody brings good DPS commanders, you're good to go. What would those good DPS commanders look like? You want commanders like Minamoto, Cao Cao, Khan. You see here that even Edward and Tamaris and Isongye are great choices. If you didn't have those legendaries, you would be looking to commanders like Pelagius, really high single target DPS. A commander like Boudica, also strong, really high single target DPS. That's the sort of thing that you're going for. And I think cavalry are really important because you need to be able to move around if you are not going for a record, which is what we were doing here. The reason that is true is that you actually need to get under those shields and not take the arrow damage. The only reason that we can do this is that we've got the 50% expansion with the T5 troops. That's what enables us to get that done. So what I'll do is I'll show the last couple attempts. We'll have some music rolling, which hopefully you enjoy, where we break our records 1 or 2 more times. Here we hit 1:51, new record set, and we're going to do it again. One last thing I want to call your attention to before I just swap over to the music is that you also should have a relevant city skin. That city skin gives you 5% of stats, so I've got cavalry attack. I'm using the old school Thanksgiving skin. The new skin that comes from the daily, what's it called? The Lucerne Scrolls. Gosh. Yeah, that. The Lucerne Scrolls, that skin is really, really good for this, for cavalry. If you're using archers, you're going to want archer attack. Obviously, you want to have your gear equipped, your very best gear equipped to the primary commander for this event. And you also want to run in and in your commanders section, so if you go to your governor profile, hit commander, make sure that you also set someone for the drill master for the 1% attack and your other commander as the knight head for the troop defense and health. That is also a good choice. I don't think that the Ceroli Assault boss qualifies as a barbarian, so I don't think you want to use ranger. I don't think that extra damage is actually doing anything for you. So my friends, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to swap over to the music, and until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom, and good luck smashing our record.
When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see this too. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. When you want to get off the darkest ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. this ground, but gravity pulls you straight down. Earth from a bird's eye view. You should grow feathers and see